Welcome to the ReaderHouse Author Roundtable, where authors from all walks of life come together to discuss the trials, tribulations, and triumphs of publishing their books. I'm your host, Corey Graham. Join us here every Friday night at 8 p.m. or listen anytime via podcast at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, and PodServe, to name just a few. The Author Roundtable is sponsored by ReaderHouse Online Bookstore, where the independent new authors come first. Stories of self-discovery are common, but the one you'll find in author Jeannie Tyrell's new book, Braindrops, is a lot different than you might expect. Jeannie is joining me right here at the ReaderHouse Author Roundtable. Jeannie, thank you for joining me tonight.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Can you tell us about Braindrops?
Well, it's a very entertaining story about what keeps an individual from being in the moment. It's meant to explain how we've collectively developed something that I call a disregard complex. It's a pretty fun read, and I'm sure the readers will enjoy it.
So how did this come about? Where did you get the idea or inspiration for it?
I started writing Braindrops in 2012. But I've always been kind of just documenting stuff in my life, and I finally decided to write it in 2012.
Have you written or published anything before?
Yeah, I did study journalism, so I did do some things for newspapers, but this is my first actual book that I've written. So,
congratulations! It's a big deal
Thank you.
Getting published for the first time. What's it feel like?
You know, it's a really great feeling. I feel really glad that I've actually completed it. And it's kind of out of my mental space now, and I have more room to create something else. So it's a great accomplishment.
Yeah, often just getting it done is one of the biggest challenges for writers. Were you having problems along the way with things like writer's block or just getting caught up?
Not really, because I had done the mental homework, I guess, for such a long time, and I kind of had all the material there for me because I constantly journal and document. And so anytime I was kind of losing focus, I would just return to my own self in a weird way, which is another thing that the book is actually about, is kind of like how you can kind of produce creatively because there's a lot of obstacles in our way. And so it's just a fun way to kind of show the reader like how they can get to that sort of place as well.
How was it taking everything after all those years, then editing it to be published?
I think adding structure to it, because that was actually a bit of a challenge too, but I think it was helpful. I enjoyed the process.
What one piece of advice now would you give to authors that want to get their first book out there?
I think just go for it. You know, I think a lot of people put too much pressure on themselves, especially right now. I think collectively we're all we have a lot of pressure, and so we're adding enough even more to ourselves, I would say. So I think authors need to kind of give themselves a break, and they just need to put the work out and not really second guess themselves, would be my advice.
So hopefully it won't take 8 years for a second book. Are you thinking about it?
I'm actually working on a fiction. Yeah, so I don't think it will take that long. Maybe a year, I don't know. But I am working on something else. Like I said, Braindrops being finished, complete in my hands has now freed up so much space. So, yeah, I'm excited. I am writing.
You're in an elite group now. I heard a well-known author say that being that you finished a novel, let alone publish it, being that you finished it, you are in an elite percentage of writers.
Wow.
And what that does for you is then it just motivates you and inspires you to do more and more and keep writing.
Exactly. I fully intend to do so and not really, doubt myself or do anything like that. Just go for it.
Well, Jeannie, thank you for expressing your creativity and inspiring others to do the same and giving us a glimpse of what's going on in your mind. This is Braindrops by Jeannie Tyrell, published by Fulton Books. You can find it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iTunes, Google Play, and everywhere else you pick up your reading material. Well, Jeannie, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. It was great chatting with you.
Bye. Thank you so much.
We hope you enjoyed this edition of the ReaderHouse Author Roundtable, where authors from all walks of life come together to discuss the trials, tribulations, and triumphs of publishing their books. We hope to see you back here every Friday night at 8 p.m. or listen anytime via podcast at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, and PodServe, to name just a few. The Author Roundtable is sponsored by ReaderHouse Online Bookstore, where independent new authors come first.